Hello, this is Dr. Glenn Shepard. I'll be your instructor for the course in 721 curriculum design. And I just want to give you a overview of what we do. I'll make a video each week that just gives you my overview of what's going to be happening, okay? And this week, it'll be just a little bit longer because it's a kind of a little bit about the whole course. Okay. And then on Saturdays, I put in announcements, Saturday notes. That's written format to help you out about what's going on during the week. Okay. So basically, you will be doing two discussions and an assignment most weeks. In this course, there will be, I think, 3 weeks that you do not have an assignment. I think week 2, 4, and 7, you don't have an assignment. Okay. So you may know the drill. Here, you go through the syllabus, and I would use using AI. Look that up. Welcome to the course and getting started. This is where you'll see the course guide syllabus, but there's a meet your faculty and peers that I posted something about myself, and then other people are posting. Okay, so if you want to share information about yourself, that would be great. We'd really like to know where you're from, what kind of experience you have in education, teaching, training with adults or whatever. What's your background, what's your a little bit about yourself, whatever you want to share. Okay. And so the purpose overall of the course is to get you familiar with curriculum design decisions, and it's really important what is the curriculum. A lot of people just assume, okay, well, everybody knows what's being taught. Well, okay, who determines what's being taught? And a lot of adult type training, and for older people, it's kind of cut and dry a little bit. You have business needs, and you have employee training, and you have specific things, skills or whatever. With children, it's a little bit more difficult. What do they need to learn, and how do they need to learn it? Those are two huge questions. Okay. And with adult learners, we want them to be independent, self learners, and work higher level thinking skills, solve problems, work in cooperation with other adults, and these kind of skills. But then with children, we treat them like they're just I don't know, robots, and they're just supposed to pass a math or a reading test, and that's all or something. It's kind of messed up, I think. So I lean very much toward a constructivist approach for children. I'll be right out frank with you that I think we don't treat children like children. We treat them like adults, and a very competitive system that we put children through. And so we'll be discussing these things. What's the difference between, and who determines, what a child learns or how they learn. And so these are issues that we'll be looking at, okay? Some of the issues. So the first discussion of this week is about curriculum instruction and assessment. Okay, those are, are they? Why do they need to be aligned, or do they need to be aligned? Or, so curriculum is what you teach, instruction is how, and then of course assessment is, okay, how well did you do with the instruction? What was the outcome? Good, bad, or different? So we assess it. So we want to discuss this in our first. Look for sources. Your book, your textbook has some good sources. I think it's this week 1 and 3. Chapters 1 and 3. And then look for other sources. Use the university library, as you all should know. Use the university library to do searches. And I would recommend keeping notes for if you look something up. Take notes. 250. Each one of these is supposed to be 250, 300 word response. It's about a page in length, a full page, if you did it in a Word document or something. Okay. But you can save these your responses, save your sources at least. Have a bank of sources that you can compile about different issues, and make little notes about so that you have the citations. So later, if you were working on a dissertation or other papers, you have a bank of sources, see, that you can go back to. So I would begin doing that right now. Every time you read something, each one of these readings, make that little file for sources and notes, and so you can use those later. Okay, your second discussion. Okay, well, just to mention, on each discussion, you're to respond to someone. Okay, and that's 20% of the grade. So the full discussion grade comes from 80% of your response the first time, okay, and then 20% of you responding to someone appropriately as well. That's 20% of the discussion grade. Okay, I expect you to use 2 sources each discussion. The initial discussion, that's 10% of overall. Okay, so if you only use one source, I take off 5%. If you don't use any sources, I take off 10%. Okay, that's where grades come from. And then you respond to someone by Monday. And then this one is about defending curriculum decisions. Okay, this is looking at something. Look at it, the science of reading. Okay, I won't read this whole thing to you, but you want to convince people in your school that science of reading, what it is, and why it's important. You want to get buy-in from your community, stakeholders, teachers, and this is what this discussion is. How do you get buy-in? How do you get people, how do you communicate what you want to others about this reading of science, and how would you do it? That's kind of a discussion about reading of science, but it's also about, how you get people involved and communicate a change like this. Okay, so this is kind of a cool discussion. And so the second discussion, again, you answer or respond to someone by Monday. And then you have acknowledgement and doctoral demeanor, an AI use policy. If you do this activity, you get a point. And that's pretty important, actually, to look through that. Now, your assignment this week is 80 points. Okay, so it's not a major assignment as far as it doesn't have a rubric. Okay, your assignments week 3, 5, and 8 are your major assignments that those have a rubric. Okay, this one is 80 points, but it's called a curriculum audit. So you pick a school. Okay, if you don't teach in a school, you can pick one around you, pick one one you've been at before, make one up, type thing, or whatever you want to do. Or don't use a school. You'll say you teach adults, or teach an adult programs or something like this, and use that. Okay, so whatever you want to use, and you want to describe it. It's 500 to 700 words. That's what 3 or 4 pages. Okay, and you want to cite your sources or whatever type thing, but you want to describe the curriculum and the subject matter, grade level. You can read all this, and each one of these bullets should probably be like headers or something. Say boom, boom, boom. This is so you're and you're going to be using this in week 3. So it's a good idea to go ahead and look ahead week 3, and then the week 8 assignment builds on it even further. Okay, so it's kind of important what you pick right now, and you do a pretty thorough job. That's 3 or 4 pages. You want to just outline each one of these. Okay, that should be pretty clear. If there's any questions, let me know. Though I'll be glad to help you out. I'm around to answer your questions. And then you read your, like I said, there's chapter 1 and 3, and then you have 2 really good articles here. How curriculum developers' cognitive theories influence curriculum development, and then curriculum theory, a review study. Okay, that's a really good one as well. I would always advise to read the materials first. Start out the week before you do answer discussions. Read all the materials. Okay, there's 2 chapters. Read them. Take notes. Again, take notes of what's important. Things that you want to think. Okay, that stands out. I could use that when I'm citing something else later. Whatever. Take your notes of chapter 1. Take notes of chapter 3. Just a few. What is the idea? What's some of the main things? And then each one of the articles, copy that all down and have it. Save it. Okay? And then you can use it later or whatever. But I strongly suggest that for the course. Okay? Start out reading all the materials first, then look at the discussions, and then look for other sources that you might need. Okay, so that's it for now. This has been a little long, but I hope it's been helpful. And I'm very helpful as far as if you need assistance or if you need a little bit more time on something or questions about something, always ask. Okay, and I'll help you out. All right. Talk to you later. All right. Bye.